ledger ignite. Phantom in flight. Max so bright. Can't see me, but feel my mind. No face crypto, phantom protocol. Standing tall while empires fall. Central chains can't cage it all. Unshaken faith, I break the wall.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the No Face Crypto channel. Where's the face no guys? You feel me? In today's video, we're going to be talking about XRP. This is going to be the expose part 2. Alright, real quickly, let's just get straight into it, guys. Let's cover the flow chart. Alright, I'm going to pop that up on the screen right now. Take a good look at that. Make sure you guys go ahead and watch this, my most popular video I've ever done, apparently. Right here, XRP 2026, the only video you need before it's too late. All right, I will leave a link in the description. I will put it at the end of this video, and I'll put it at the beginning of this video. But let's get into it. All right, I'm so excited. Flow chart, all right, understand that. Cool. Now, right, I'm not holding anything back in this video. I am not holding a single thing back in this video. Conspiracy, riddle, facts. I mean, everything you need will be in this video. And this is because so many things have changed in the last 2 weeks when it comes to XRP. Crazy things happen after Ripple Swell. Crazy things happen. So let's go ahead. We're going to jump in. We'll get another part 2 going. And I'm going to tell you guys everything you need to know about XRP coming up in 2026. Because we really might see the largest transfer of wealth ever seen in human history. All right, let's go ahead and jump right into it. First things first, you guys will be listening to Edward Snowden. I'm sure every XRP holder knows who Edward Snowden, who Julian Assange is, and WikiLeaks, right? When we are talking about a digital ID, this man has been calling this forever, right? The whole idea with WikiLeaks, that the reason they shut the thing down was because it exposed everything, all the spying on us, right? We know it now. Now it's just a fact, right? But digital ID is going to become a thing. They're going to know what you buy, when you buy it, what you do with it. Let's go ahead and jump in. Here's a little synopsis of what was going on with Edward Snowden. Was on the run. He fled the U.S. government, dipped, and went to Russia. Now, the U.S. government said that he acted in espionage. I don't believe that. He exposed the truth, and they called it espionage, and literally they tried to get him killed while he was on the run. But let's go ahead and play the clip, and we're going to get right straight into the video. I'm only playing these clips of Edward Snowden so you guys can know. Digital ID is coming. XRP plays a huge, huge role in this. But we have a lot to talk about, a lot to cover. Let's jump right into it. You feel me?
Everyday Americans. All I've got on a computer is pictures of my family, CCTV cameras that are prevalent in a ton of American cities and overseas capitals. Those cameras are your friend if you're innocent and have nothing to hide.
Well, I'd say that's very much what the average Chinese citizen believed, or perhaps even still to this day believes. But we see how these same technologies are being applied to create what they call the social credit system. If any of these family photos, if any of your activities online, if your purchases, if your associations, if your friends are in any way different from what the government or the powers that be of the moment would like them to be, you're no longer able to purchase train tickets. You're no longer able to board an airplane. You may not be able to get a passport. You may not be eligible for a job. You might not be able to work for the government. All of these things are increasingly being created and programmed and decided by algorithms. And those algorithms are fueled by precisely the innocent data that our devices are creating all of the time, constantly, invisibly, quietly, right now. Our devices are casting all of these records that we do not see being created, that in aggregate seem very innocent. You were at Starbucks at this time. You went to the hospital afterwards. You spent a long time at the hospital. After you left the hospital, you made a phone call. You made a phone call to your mother. You talked to her until the middle of the night. The hospital was an oncology clinic. Even if you can't see the content of these communications, the activity records, what the government calls metadata, which they argue they do not need a warrant to collect, tells the whole story. And these activity records are being created and shared and collected and intercepted constantly by companies and governments. And ultimately, it means as they sell these, as they trade these, as they make their businesses on the backs of these records, what they are selling is not information. What they are selling is us. What they are selling is not information. What they are selling is us. They're selling our future. They're selling our past. They are selling our history, our identity, and ultimately, they are stealing our power and making our stories work for them.
Holy fucking shit.
In the global cat and mouse game to catch Ed Snowden has taken some major turns today. Weeks after the government surveillance leaker left his home, his job, his girlfriend in Hawaii for Hong Kong, officials there let him escape yesterday to Moscow. Russia doesn't have an extradition agreement with the United States. Officials in Moscow are reportedly reviewing a request by the United States to expel Ed Snowden before he leaves the country. So where he goes next is still very much an open question. And the founder of WikiLeaks, that Julian Assange, said Snowden had applied for asylum in Ecuador, Iceland, and possibly other countries. Well, yesterday, Russian state media reported that he had planned to catch a flight on the Russian airline Aeroflot, which would take him to Cuba en route to Venezuela. But this morning, that flight took off from Russia, and there's the seat that he would have occupied. Snowden was nowhere to be seen on board. And Aeroflot officials said Snowden booked this seat 17A. You can see it's empty. It was full of journalists who were probably quite displeased. Keep in mind, if Ecuador does take him in, this would be just the latest blow to the United States. Ecuador is still giving asylum to Julian Assange in its embassy in London. But at the same time that it reaches out to WikiLeaks, its government recently passed a law cracking down on the freedoms of their own press, a move that the United Nations criticized. So Julian Assange says Ed Snowden is safe for now, and the White House says its assumption is that the suspect is still in Russia. Its assumption. But this marks just the latest challenge for the United States government, which filed criminal charges, espionage charges, against Ed Snowden more than a week ago.
All right, guys, now that we have established what is coming, here is the current countries that have digital ID systems, right? We have Estonia, India, which is, that's like a quarter of the world. Denmark, all right? We have other digital ID systems in Singapore, China, Australia, and several European nations like Spain, Belgium. These systems vary from fully digital and mandatory systems like Estonia to more optional or app-based systems for accessing certain services like in Australia or the UK. But what they don't tell you, though, is that in Europe, they limit your purchasing power. They say you can save as much as you want, but you can't make a purchase bigger than $3,000 in certain places in Eastern Europe. So this whole idea that digital ID is not here yet, it's here, right? It's here. You can't pay for cash for things in certain countries. Right? Has everyone seen that video where the guy literally tried to buy a thing of grapes and he wasn't able to pay with tender?
And I'm offering exactly the right amount of money here on the help desk. So you people take that money, £1.90, and I will take my strawberries outside.
You can't take that. You can't take that. Police is on their way. You can't take that. Police is on their way. You can't take that.
I paid by legal tender.
No. Don't break the door. Do not break the door.
I paid by legal tender, and I am going out with my strawberries. And I'm going to eat them. I'm going to eat my strawberries.
Guys, you see the UK flag? This was in the UK. This was in the UK. So understand it is happening everywhere. This dude just tried to buy a pack of strawberries for like $1, $2. Couldn't even do it. When's the last time you guys went to the grocery store and paid in cash? Every self-checkout line in a grocery store is debit cards. They barely let you pay in cash. All right? They are making it inconvenient to use cash for a reason. Let's go on to the next point. All right, guys, we're going to wrap this all back into XRP. You guys have seen the flow chart. You know what's coming, and we're going to go ahead and get into recent moves of the last 2 weeks soon. But before we do that, right, we have never on this channel looked at the economists that the economists get ready for a world currency 1988, which, by the way, was the same year that David Schwartz started working on the distributed ledger patent.
Check this out. 1988, you put the blockchain technology back in 2000 or something like that. You go to work for a car firm, am I correct?
No, I mean, I spent some time consulting for the NSA.
All right, guys, look, I know one thing's for sure. This guy's David Schwartz's body language is off here. And when I play this video later in the video, you guys will understand why, right? But we know that David Schwartz is most likely one of these Satoshis. And we're going to go into that. I have a lot of information coming, guys. I'm very excited. But you heard him say right here, 1988, the patent was started. I believe in 92 or not, the patent was finally, put forth and accepted. But 1988 is when the patent started. He then was contracted by the NSA, allegedly, right? Allegedly, right? And you can tell by his body language and just how nervous and weird he's acting. Bro, you telling me the NSA didn't hire him to do those patents? Get the fuck out of here. See, just wait. I got a lot more coming. All right? It gets crazy. I also want to mention here, before we go and dive into this for a second, right? Get ready for a world currency, The Economist, 1988, and then 30 years later, 2018 is the date that is on this coin here, right? Stick with me. So before we even get into the Economist article, you're telling me on the cover of that from 1988, which is the same year that David Schwartz did the patent, on the cover of that coin, it says 2018. And you're telling me that in 2018, the SEC unjustly sued Ripple to stop the growth of the new world currency, to get all the banks and the institutions in to the new world currency. Are you serious? 2018. It doesn't make... Come on. What are the chances? What are the chances we have 2 years that line up? David Schwartz patent with the date that article came out. Then we have Bill Hemmon SEC emails literally giving Ethereum a free pass, which was unjust, and suppressing XRP. In 2018, the same year that is on the coin of the new world currency on the Economist thing from 1988. Come on, man. Let me cook. Make sure y'all subscribe, drop a comment, and drop a like, man. This is crazy.
He's heating up.
All right, guys, and just really quickly, just to cover the Satoshi lore very, very quickly. All right. I need you guys to understand this before I play this next clip for you. So here it says in a Forbes article, this is the Ripple $1 Trillion Man article. At age 48, Schwartz, bearded and balding with shoulder-length hair, is the Gandalf-esque wizard of San Francisco's Ripple and co-creator of the third most valuable cryptocurrency. Now, Ripple has been in California for forever, right? This is where all the people with cryptocurrency, all the people who designed Bitcoin and XRP and Ripple, they stay here, right? Satoshi, the group of people, if you will, which David Schwartz is a part of, resides in California. I believe now. When you hear this, guys, it's going to confirm basically everything you know. I mean, we know David Schwartz probably Satoshi, but I need to play this clip for you guys, and then we'll play the other clip after that. But here is this clip came from a kind of an unknown government meeting. I don't know if it was meant to be recorded, but I have a recording, and I'm going to play something for you guys. This is about the government taking down Alphabet and discovering Bitcoin, right? They say they didn't know what Bitcoin was, so they had to go meet with Satoshi. But I'm going to let you guys hear that for yourself.
Hey, we looked at Bitcoin. It was the most prevalent at that point. We had seized quite a bit of it, millions of dollars worth, under the Silk Road investigation. So one of our agents who started looking at another online marketplace through the deep web, which was called Black Market Reloaded, they were sending weapons through packages and ordering them on the dark web. And he was really, really smart, forward-leaning agent. And he goes, I want to go interview Satoshi Nakamoto. And we're like, what? He said, yeah, I want to go interview this guy. And at the time, we're like, hey, it's a figment of somebody's imagination. Maybe it's true, maybe it's not true. So, you know, we had all this pushback from our headquarters. And we thought, hey, if an agent wants to go talk to him and we have some money, why don't we send him? Let's find out how this works. So as it came to be, the agents flew out to California and they realized that he wasn't alone in creating this. There were 3 other people, and they sat down and met with them and talked to them to find out how this actually works and what the reason for it was. And obviously the reason was not so that criminals would utilize it for nefarious purposes, right?
Guys, what do we think of that? What do we think of that? Go ahead and let me know in the comments below. Let's take a quick look at the Economist article and just cover some of the quick points that we can find here. We have some type of crown or helmet here. What do we see in the Bearable Guys Twitter? Let's go ahead and read a few paragraphs from this article, guys. The rise of the Phoenix, get ready for a world currency, right? 30 years from now, Americans, Japanese, Europeans, and people in many other rich countries and some relatively poor ones will probably be paying for their shopping with the same currency. Price will be quoted not in dollars, yen, or D-marks, but in, let's say, the Phoenix. The Phoenix will be favored by companies and shoppers because it will be more convenient than today's national currencies, which by then will seem a quaint cause of much disruption to economic life in the last 20th century. As you can see here, right, the biggest change in the world economy since the early 1970s is that flows of money have replaced trade in goods as the force that drives exchange rates. As a result of the relentless integration of the world's financial markets, difference in national economic policies can disturb interest rates or expectation for future interest rates only slightly, yet still call forth huge transfers of financial assets from one country to another. These transfers swamp the flow of trade revenues and their effect on the demand and supply for different currencies, and hence in their effort on exchange rates. As telecommunications technology continues to advance, these transactions will be cheaper and faster. Still, with uncoordinated economic policies, currencies can only get more volatile. Oh my God, they predicted the future. This is insane.
In the future, entertainment will be randomly generated.
The Phoenix Zone will impose tight constraints on national governments. There will be no such thing, for instance, as a national monetary policy. The world Phoenix supply will be fixed by a new central bank. Oh my gosh. New central bank. Ripple. Descended perhaps from the IMF. Oh my God. We're going to go ahead and dump into the IMF documents too, because this is just getting crazy. The world inflation rate, and hence within narrow margins, each national inflation rate would be in its charge. Each country could use taxes and public spending to offset temporary falls in demand, but it would have to borrow rather than print money. Creditors would be forced to judge their borrowing and lending plans more carefully than they do today. This means a big loss of economic sovereignty, but the trends that make the Phoenix so appealing are taking that sovereignty away in any case. Even in a world of more or less floating exchange rates, individual governments have seen their policy independence checked by an unfriendly outside world. They are literally saying right here in front of you guys that with a new digital financial system, your sovereignty is gone. What have I been telling you guys this entire time? So we can question what the Phoenix is, right? But all I know is Bitcoin failed its white paper. Bitcoin isn't a currency. Oh my gosh. All right. The alternative to preserve policymaking autonomy would involve a new proliferation of truly draconian controls on trade and capital flows. This course offers government a splendid time. Guys, this is literally blockchain. They could manage exchange rate movements, deploy monetary and fiscal policy without inhibition, and tackle the resulting burst of inflation with prices and income policies. It is a growth crippling prospect. Pencil in the Phoenix for around 2018 and welcome it when it comes. And in 2018, we got sued by the SEC. Right? Ripple, we'll go back to this page here. Ripple, quite literally, would be fixed by a new central bank. Ripple is the new central bank, descended perhaps from the IMF. So let's go ahead and make some IMF connections, but understand, cue the flowchart. Ripple Bank is coming. We discussed it in the last episode, guys. These people Ripple is working with the whales, the institutions, BlackRock, State Street, Vanguard, JP Morgan. They're working with all of them. And they're doing it to keep the price down temporarily so that these big institutions can load up. They are acting as the central bank. Okay, I swear.
JP Morgan will enable you to earn like $100 billion. Work with us. I think Ripple wants cooperation to become the global bridge asset standard. You're not going to work under Ripple. You're going to work with Ripple. This is one of the wonderful things that Ripple does. They make partnerships.
Agreed.
Swift came out and said something stupid and dishonest. We're working with Consensus, and we're going to, build our own transfer system. We're not going to use XRP, and we're going to build it on the Ethereum rails. Oh, golly. Just try rotating on this. Oh, golly. Just try rotating on this. What does Ripple and Garlinghouse and this vice president, what do they want in return for facilitating a multi-billion coin accumulation by the big financial firms, including JP Morgan and BlackRock? And I think they're trying to get like 5 billion each, 3 billion coins each. What does Ripple want? What does Ripple want? A bank license. What does Ripple want? A bank license.
Fair enough.
What else do they want? They want a lot of cooperation, and they probably got it at the Ripple Swell meeting. I think it concluded yesterday, the conference.
These institutions are sacking up tons and tons and tons of XRP while everyone's crying about the price, not knowing that this is part of the plan the entire time. In return, Ripple is getting a Fed account. They are getting a Fed account. They are literally going to be integrated within the Federal Reserve System, like we saw in the movie Sneakers. Oh my gosh. Let me chill. Let's go on to the next point. In the article, it states if Phoenix would impose tight constraints on national governments, there would be no such thing, for instance, as a national monetary policy. The world Phoenix supply would be fixed by a new central bank, descended perhaps from the IMF. So, who's the head of the IMF? The head of the IMF is Kristalina Georgieva, right? Now, we go ahead. She has made a lot of quotes about the Ripple effect, Ripple, liquidity being water. Guys, I mean, you really can't make this shit up, right? So we go ahead and we take a look at her Twitter. March 15th, 2022, the entire global economy will feel the economic ripple effects, in bold letters, of the war in Ukraine with slower growth and faster installation. Here we go. For a fantastic exchange and your insight on how we can get more to build resilience in fragile conflict-affected states, instability has ripple effects. War in Ukraine means hunger in Africa, fragility, But why does she keep using the term ripple effect? The economic ripple effects of the war in Ukraine.
What do you mean by that?
Now, guys, here is a document directly from the International Monetary Fund concerning trust bridges and monetary flows. Trust bridges and monetary flows, a digital marketplace to improve cross-border payments. We're not going to waste time reading any of this shit. I've already looked at this before. We'll go ahead, right? Let's just see. Is XRP mentioned? XRP is mentioned here in the glossary. So it was mentioned somewhere in this document. Oh my lord. 3 models arise: a private settlement asset and marketplace such as Ripple's XRP, and open source markets such as Stellar Frameworks Foundation. We know Stellar, it's great, excellent, we love it. XRP, Ripple has been mentioned in an IMF document, and then here we have it. Like, I'm smiling, this is so insane. And then here we have, right, the world Phoenix supply would be fixed by a new central bank, descended perhaps from the IMF. Bro. You can't, guys, you can't make this up. You can't make this up, right? So we have Ripple mentioned here. This is literally a model for a new digital financial system, and they are citing Ripple's XRP, and they're also citing Stellar's Foundation Network, which has a lot of praise from Ripple, right? We know they have a lot to do with each other. This is insane. Insane, right? And then we'll go ahead, just one more. We'll go ahead and look for something that would have a lot to do with XRP and Ripple. So we'll just do cross. Oh, here we go. This is all cross-border payments, right? We can just go ahead and I don't know if it's going to highlight any of these for me, but Cross-border payments are expensive, slow, and opaque, reflecting multiple frictions. These problems are particularly acute for lower-income countries. This paper explains why the frictions related to cross-border payment transactions are so pervasive and explores how digital money can help overcome or mitigate some of the frictions. The paper aims to provide a conceptual foundation for the design of markets and platforms to facilitate the transfer of digital money across borders. Oh my gosh. Like, you can't make this up. It doesn't get crazier than this, guys. And so let me make something very clear here, right? Bitcoin is not a liquidity asset. Ethereum is not a liquidity asset. Cardano is not a liquidity asset. Solana is not a liquidity asset. All meme coins are not liquidity assets. XRP is the liquidity on the XRPL. This is the liquidity asset. And I had an argument. I literally had an argument with someone about this yesterday because I was talking about FXRP, printing FXRP, in a situation where you were printing FXRP and doing DeFi on the XRPL. XRP is considered the liquidity. Like, it's really that simple, guys. They are talking about cross-border payments. The only way to improve that is to improve the liquidity flows. Who has done that? Who has the system in place for liquidity flows? We've connected the IMF. We've connected the economist, David Schwartz, Satoshi, the patents. The answer is in front of you guys. Next point. Here's where we're going to go with this video. Now that we have covered a lot of the lore, a lot of where we're going, what I think is going to happen, right? XRP is going to be the world currency. They're going to bring in digital ID and they're going to run all that shit over the XRPL. They're going to fucking tokenize their DNA there, right? It's not necessarily great for humans to be a human during this, but if you hold some XRP, you know, it might pay off. You might have a little bit of freedom. That's what I believe, truly. And I apologize for being kind of black-pilled here, right? I watched a lot of Versan and Black Swan Capitalists. Now, we heard mentioned in the last, a few clips ago, from that gentleman who was talking, that XRP, that Ripple probably got a lot of institutional interest at Ripple Swell that just happened this past week. We'll go ahead and play that clip real quick that he said.
What else do they want? They want a lot of cooperation, and they probably got it at the Ripple Swell meeting. I think it concluded yesterday, the conference.
Now, coming out of the Ripple Swell event, we had a $500 million strategic investment from MasterCard and other companies. We're going to go ahead and get into that because when you see how deep this goes, how this was planned 10 years ago, I mean, what do you think is going to happen, right? The answer's in front of us. But let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and take a look here and really understand. You're watching the exact moment Brad Garlinghouse confirms a $500 million investment in Ripple live at Swell 2025, backed by Fortress, Citadel, Pantera, Galaxy, and Breven Howard. Remember those names, guys. Remember those names. The crowd erupted in applause. $40 billion evaluation. Do you guys think this stuff doesn't happen behind closed doors years before we find out about it?
Morning to everybody. Great to be here. Day 2 of Swell. Honored to be here with Patrick Witt. Before we get started, well, first of all, I'll say it's fun for me to be the interviewer versus the interviewee. So I just get to sit here and ask questions, which is fun for me.
I'm at the hot seat today.
The hot seat for sure. So before we do that, I just want to take a minute, and this is the 9th Swell, which, the very first one that was in Toronto. We have come so far from, maybe 100 people was in a warehouse in the outskirts of Toronto. But in addition to, acknowledging some of the stuff that Ashish pointed out happened overnight, earlier this morning, Ripple announced a $500 million investment from led by Fortress and Citadel, some of the biggest names in finance. And so, although we're not talking about that today, at least I wanted to acknowledge that so that people are aware that we're not just ignoring it. It is nice to take a moment to see kind of how far we've come.
The only question you guys need to be asking yourself right now is how deep does it really go? Because I think you need to go deeper. I mean, my God. So here we have Brad Garlinghouse talking at the Pantera Blockchain Summit of 2025. Let's see what he has to say.
I went to that crypto CEO conference at your home, over a decade ago.
Guys, so here we have a document from March 21st, 2014. It says many of the early adopters who managed to stick around and make something of themselves flew out for the second occurrence of Bitcoin Pacifica at Dan Moorhead's vacation home on Lake Tahoe, where a large staff catered to the crowd's every desire, allowing Moorhead to play the relaxed host in his elegant black loafer. Yeah. Among the guests was Jed McCaleb, the founder of Mt. Gox, who had recently been helping Moorhead's firm look for new Bitcoin investments. Jed spent a lot of time at Moorhead's house talking to Jesse Powell, someone he met first at 2011 Bitcoin conference in New York. Jesse was sporting sweatpants and athletic socks, was still working on the exchange that he had begun building after traveling to Tokyo, guys, reverse carry trade Japan, in 2011. And seeing what a mess Mt. Gox was, 3 of the young men who ran the successor to Mt. Gox, Bitstamp, had flown in from Slovenia and were buzzing about the matching Teslas they recently purchased. So this is confirming that a lot of people were at this exchange. Roger Ver couldn't make it to Tahoe. He had recently renounced his American citizenship and became a citizen of St. Kitts Nevis, 450,000 real estate on the island, and revoked his citizenship. Roger's old friend, Eric Voorhees, was in Tahoe, up from Panama, where he was spending his time dealing with Securities and Exchange Commission investigation of the shares he had sold in Satoshi Dice. All right, let's lock in, guys. Brad Garlinghouse was in Lake Tahoe, 2014. Now, who was part of this $500 million investment that just happened at Ripple Swell?
Having a fortress and a citadel, I mean, these are truly the leading financial players and architects of financial trading in the country. And so for them to come along with us as partners and allies, I think is a very big deal.
Here we can see June 2013, the gap that had been revealed at the Bitcoin Foundation conference between the apparent promise of Bitcoin's underlying idea that weakness of the current companies only emboldened the big money people going into summer. Peter Brigger at Fortress, the private equity and hedge fund giant, invited in an old classmate from Princeton and colleague from his days at Goldman Sachs, Dan Moorhead, to help Fortress look full-time at a range of virtual currency opportunities. A tall, who had been on both the rowing and the football teams in Princeton, Dan looked like a member of the ruling class, and he had recently been running his own hedge fund, Pantera. Oh my gosh. Also, San Francisco. Fortress offices and skyscraper near Embarcadero in downtown San Francisco. Bruh. I mean, come on, guys. An investment that was just made last week was a decade in the making. And people will still question whether XRP is a real world currency. This answers your question, guys. These are elite meeting up and bringing in the new system.
Soft and kind echoes linger in my mind. Every mile a quiet song. Every
The world is a stage and everybody is an actor, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, drop a comment below. Let me know what you think of that. All right. This deal with Pantera and this $500 million investment with all these other businesses and companies was talked about 10 years ago, over 10 years ago. Think about that for a second. So what makes you think that we're not going to have a world reserve currency, that this wasn't the plan all along? I'm giving you guys straight facts here. Straight facts. Let's go ahead and we'll jump into the MasterCard deal as well that just happened. And then we will also talk about Ripple changing Hidden Road to Ripple Prime, which is huge. They also made another acquisition very recently that we will cover. So we have a few more things to cover, but I hope you guys are seeing, like, this is literally a one world currency. Ripple has built a system that can swallow Swift. Swift is cooked. They don't have a choice. They will literally bend at the knee and beg Ripple to help them.
On my knees every day.
You have every institution in the building. Audible gasp when Brad Garlinghouse says that the current banking system has done a shitty job, quote, at serving their customers.
The bank doesn't want competition because they've done a shitty job of serving their customers.
The bank lobby.
It's over, guys. It's literally over.
Card is testing crypto payments with Ripple. Here's what's actually happening. Ripple launched a stablecoin called RLUSD. It's basically a digital dollar that runs on the XRP ledger. Now, MasterCard and a few partners are using that stablecoin to test faster, cheaper credit card payments, all powered by the blockchain. So no, this doesn't mean that XRP's price goes crazy overnight, but it does mean big companies are starting to use the same tech XRP runs on. And that's pretty interesting for real-world adoption.
This was a Ripple Swell announcement. We are collaborating with MasterCard, WebBank, and Gemini to introduce RUSD settlement on the XRPL for fiat credit card payments, starting with the Gemini XRP card. This initiative sets a new benchmark for institutional efficiency, enabling faster, compliant, and more transparent settlement with traditional finance. Right? We can see the picture here. We have Ripple, MasterCard, WebBank, and Gemini. Now, this card, this is the Gemini XRP MasterCard. Right? I have this personally. And as soon as this happened, I went to a store to go purchase something, and I earned my XRP reward immediately. So the settlement is immediate, it is faster, and they're using RLUSD on the back end. RLUSD is being held by BNY Mellon, who are also one of the banks that is gripping up XRP like crazy. Lock in, do the research. This is huge. Now, how deep does this MasterCard partnership really go? Because there's no way that this just happened out of thin air. Let's go take a deeper look.
When we rewind and go to March 11, 2019, I remember when this bidding war was going on, and Visa ended up winning this. This is when they were bidding for Earthport. So Earthport is working with Ripple, and Visa bought Earthport. So Visa is working indirectly with Ripple, while Earthport is directly working with Ripple, and then Visa could leverage Earthport technology, which leverages the RippleNet technology. You guys see where I'm going with this, right? 2019, Visa acquires control of Earthport. Visa's ownership of Earthport to bring more speed, simplicity, transparency, and trust to global payments. I'm just saying Visa bought Earthport, but the biggest acquisition here is actually Visa working with Ripple, right? Ripple hires MasterCard Sandy Young as a European managing director. This was just June 30th, 2021. Right? Young will be responsible for overseeing strategy, including the expansion of Ripple's network technology, RippleNet. So this is a paperwork PDF that was put together by KPMG. If you guys do not know what KPMG is, KPMG is an audit firm. It's more like Deloitte as well. So the stuff they say, the articles, the PDFs that they put together, they're good. Like, there's meaning behind it. These aren't idiots putting these together. And when we go under payments, it says MasterCard, cross-border B2B bank payments and remittance, blockchain-based payments and smart tags for predefined events under insurance policy allows for increasingly erased reimbursement experience as well as speed of funds received. Ripple payment blockchain solution, in brackets, it states right here.
Holy fuck! Holy shit! Holy shit! Oh my god!
And when we go to another documentation here, this is MasterCard white paper for global trade and international payments. It states here, to address some of these needs, banks are investigating new approaches such as distributed ledger technology. As an example, they put Ripple blockchain, which might provide more speed at lower cost. The impact of the commercial cross-border payment is believed to be probably in the 10 to 5 year time frame and could erode volumes through SWIFT.
But I thought you couldn't disintermediate the banking system. I thought Governor Waller said you can't disintermediate the banking system. So what's that?
You can disintermediate a bank, but you can disintermediate a bank, but you can't disintermediate the banking system.
Y'all, I'm editing this video right now. Look, this chick right here, mood. Her face, the second he says you can disintermediate the, she knew where he was going. Look at her face. Look at her face, bro. Mood. Fuck this guy. She knows this dude's a piece of shit. Come on, bro. This chick is a mood. I don't know what this chick's name is. If you know, drop a comment. But I'm messing with her. Like, that's the vibe I'm getting right now. She don't fuck with this guy. But anyway, continue. All right, guys. At this point, I have drilled the flow chart into your brain. I've put it in many videos so far. Here it is one more time. The only difference now in this flow chart is Hidden Road is now Ripple Prime. Let's go ahead and take a look at Ripple's website and understand a little bit more about what is going on here. Ripple Prime Global Multi-Asset Prime Brokerage, bringing institution into modern finance, portfolio financing, and risk-based margin financing. Ripple's acquisition of Hidden Road created Ripple Prime, the first global multi-asset prime broker owned by a crypto company. With strength of our capital and infrastructure, Ripple Prime is ready to support growing customer demand. All right, they clear $3 trillion annually across markets, over 300 plus institutional customers. I mean, come on, guys. Expertise and authority, consolidated trading, FX, ETDs, OTC swaps, fixed income clearing and repo, precious metals, and more. And the very important thing here is digital assets, right? Efficient clearing, trust, and security. I mean, come on, guys. And so this is built for people like BlackRock, all your banks, all this stuff. So this is now Ripple Prime. It is no longer Hidden Road. I don't feel a need to update the flow chart. I think it's perfect, to be honest. Ripple has control over 13,000 banks, Swift 11,000, and they are scared, literally shaking in their boots.
Oh, scary. Shiver my timbers. Shut up.
Insanity. So we can go ahead and learn a little bit more about Ripple Prime or Hidden Road. So these are the services that they, this is ridiculous. These are the services that they provide. Prime brokerage, and this is what's very important here, FX precious metals, digital assets, synthetics, oil, everything. Derivatives clearing, futures and options, sponsored access and direct market access. And for financing, they have derivatives margin financing and digital asset margin financing for institutions. Bruh. And they're backed by BNY Mellon RUSD. So what do you think is going to happen when BlackRock says, yo, let me get $1 billion of this on margin? I mean, this is ridiculous. This is so insane to me. All right, so we've now discussed this. Good. I hope you guys understand the flowchart at this point. If you haven't, go ahead and watch the previous video. But with that being said, in short, the best way I can explain it is by this clip.
I am the keeper of a greater magic, a power known throughout the universe as the
Force?
No, the Schwartz. The Schwartz. What is it that you do here? Merchandising. Where the real money from the movie is made. Spaceballs the t-shirt. Spaceballs the coloring book. Spaceballs the lunchbox. Spaceballs the breakfast cereal. Spaceballs the flamethrower. The kids love this one.
Guys, now that we are back at the Schwartz clip, let's just have a quick talk. Here is the picture I want to paint for you guys. And this is going to be a rabbit hole. So just give me 1 minute. We have The Economist that comes out in 1988, which is the same day that David Schwartz started working on his patent. David Schwartz was eventually contracted by the NSA, and many people think he is Satoshi. I also believe he is Satoshi, or one of the Satoshi. Bitcoin is created and fails its white paper as a currency. The government investigates a lot of these black market websites, allegedly doesn't know what Bitcoin is. But that's what they tell the people in the public. I don't actually believe that. But verifiably, in conversation, we have just heard in this video that they did go and interview Satoshi, and it was 3 people in California. In California. Ripple is in San Francisco. Where's Bitcoin? Where's their headquarters? Exactly. Let's fast forward a little bit, right? The date on that Economist article, was 2018. The same year that William Henman gave Ethereum a free pass, which was unjust, specifically to stop the growth of XRP, which is the world currency. Let's fast forward a couple years. Now we have a unified digital financial system that Ripple has built. Billions of dollars in acquisitions. Then we copy the same exact playbook that Michael Saylor has done, where he's tripping out about Bitcoin, telling everyone to sell everything and go buy Bitcoin. He has a Bitcoin treasury company, right? Or a Bitcoin strategic acquisition company. And we get the same exact playbook printed out with Evernorth SPAC coming to NASDAQ next year. A strategic XRP reserve company that will be paying back dividends that were made with the XRPL. That's a very short synopsis of what I think is going on here. And obviously, yes, I do think the price of XRP has been controlled for the last couple of years for institutions to get in, all the big institutions to get in. In return, because XRP is going to be worth a lot of money in the future because it will be the liquidity of the world. In return, Ripple is going to be gifted a Fed master account. Literally prophecy. Literally acting on prophecy from the 1992 movie Sneakers. We can roll that clip too. All right, guys, due to a copyright, I will not be playing the sound on this clip, but you can see right here, the code is about to switch. These are NSA agents, David Schwartz, hacking into Federal Reserve node system. Right here, when the code switches, because we're in the matrix, you can see XRP pop up right here. Federal Reserve transfer node. Can you, either we are literally, quite literally, in the matrix itself, and this is a simulation. I mean, if you guys believe that, drop a comment and let me know. Or this was deadass planned it was deadass planned 50 years ago, and this is a simulation. I think it's the latter, to be honest. Insanity, guys. Shut down the Federal Reserve. Come on, bruh. Shut down the Federal Reserve. Do you know what's about to actually shut down the Federal Reserve? What's about to replace? I don't think you guys understand what's going to happen. I mean, I'm going to let you guys' thoughts do the thinking, but wow. Guys, let's actually ask ourselves a question here. What's the statistical probability that 3 out of 26 letters gets randomly generated together in a program? So I had the AI answer this for me. So out of the total outcomes, the program generates a sequence of 3 letters, and each letter can be any of the 26 letters with replacement, thus the total number of possible sequences. 17,576. We want the sequence to consist of 3 specific letters, A, B, and C in this reference, but obviously we're using XRP. Since sequence has exactly 3 letters, this means the sequence must be a permutation of ABC, ACB, BAC, BCA, CAB. The number of permutations of 3 distinct letters is 6. So, the probability is a number of favorable outcomes divided by the total outcomes. Simplifying 6 over as the numerator and 17,576 as the denominator, which gives you a 0.0003%. So to express this percentage, it is literally that's incorrect. It's 0.03%. So, final answer. Assuming the program generates a sequence of 3 letters with replacement, and we want the sequence to consist of 3 specific letters, A, B, and C in any order, the probability literally is 0.034%. So the probability that in the Sneakers movie, right, this XRP here was, if it was randomly generated, the probability would literally be 0.03% that it would be XRP, which literally leads me to believe that this was not random. Nah, that math is even incorrect. It's even less of a percentage chance that XRP in an XRP exact order gets put in that. So you can go ahead and take that 0.03% and divide it by 5, or however you do the math, right? That 0.03%, it's even crazier when you consider that this is XRP. XRP. It's not PRX. It's not RXP. It's not PXR. This is XRP. So actually the statistical probability that this was random it's absolutely impossible. That was put there. Which means, yes, there are people putting coded messages and leaving breadcrumbs. Yes, that is 100% a fact. And anyone who calls anyone in the XRP army crazy or anything like that is they're crazy themselves. Absolutely ridiculous, guys. We are beyond speculation. We are beyond conspiracy. We have laid out the facts in 2 expose videos. And I barely touched on XRP and pop culture. I mean, a little bit. You guys know about matrix references and Bearable Guy 123 and all of his lore, right? It's at the point I don't even have to get into that to prove a point. The evidence is right in front of you, the last 2 videos. Go ahead and tap in, subscribe, drop a like, and comment if you have enjoyed this. But there is one last thing we need to cover. I am so certain that David Schwartz is Satoshi, or one of these Satoshi, Arthur Brito, there's a few others, right? I am so certain off of this video alone that I'm going to play for you guys. Just look at his body language. I know he's a little bit of a nerdy guy, but come on. Come on. All right, he's going to go ahead and say he discovered Bitcoin in 2011, right? How do you discover Bitcoin in 2011, yet you're the best cryptographer in the world and you have all the patents on distributed ledger technology in 1988, and you don't discover Bitcoin in 2011? Cap. It's a lie. Stop the cap.
Stop the cap.
So let's go ahead and play the clip, and we'll go ahead and finish off the video the right way.
And your expression and your body language. Okay, check this out. 1988, you put the blockchain technology back in 2000 or something like that. You go to work for a dark firm, am I correct?
No, I mean, I spent some time consulting for the NSA in 2000.
Okay.
2000.
And what happens in 2007, 2008, you have a housing bubble, right? And in 2009, you're still there. Bitcoin is born. Bitcoin doesn't work. It's too slow. It's too cumbersome. And then the only guy that can fix Bitcoin is Satoshi Nakamoto, a.k.a. XRP. No?
Well, so there's one problem with that, which is if you look at the original Bitcoin source code,
right?
It has a user interface implemented in Qt. I don't know Qt. So you have to add at least one other person.
You have resources.
Yeah, you have to add at least one other person to make it plausible.
Okay, but you might be the main guy.
It's not impossible. It's not true.
I got it.
Oh, brother, come on. I mean, come on, guys. You know when somebody is capping. This dude is straight up capping.
I have the skill set to do it. Awesome. But I didn't discover Bitcoin until 2011. I wish I had. Believe me, I'd be what? How much is Bitcoin worth?
Now watch how he diverts the attention off of the question and completely switches the topic and starts looking at other people here. You can't make this up. It doesn't get crazier than this. This is insane.
62, what is it? How much is it?
How many million Bitcoins do people think we have?
20 million?
Somewhat between 1 and 2 million, right? Depending on how much of the early money people have.
Right.
So that's what? $50 billion?
Yeah.
What, at the peak? Right now it's... So this is the crazy thing. Think about this. Imagine if you're someone in government, you're someone in national security, you're someone in law enforcement, you have a person who is a billionaire, like a multi-billionaire. Like, and you know what you can do with money. Like, look at the influence on politics that Elon Musk has.
100%.
You have somebody who has that level of money and power and influence, and you don't know who they are.
Right. Don't figure that
What their politics are, who they're aligned with, if anyone. That's crazy.
It's like buying freedom without knowing.
Exactly. But imagine that. Imagine if you had an actor with that. And the weird thing is, so his bitcoins have not moved.
Right. Well, they don't have to.
You guys can just line up.
I like that.
Let's get a great.
I saw a post on X this morning basically saying, I know all the information and I'm done letting people know about XRP and telling people that XRP is going to take over. And honestly, I kind of agree with that at this point. You know, with all the information I've provided, with everything that we now know, there's no point in trying to convince people to buy into XRP or any of this stuff. There's no point. It's a lost cause, right? We'll see in a few years the real effects of all the information I've given you. But I mean, it is very, very, very obvious that, you know, we have a lot of communities attacking XRP because they are scared. And that is just the truth. They didn't buy correctly the first time. So now they're trying to chase. Watch very carefully what's about to happen here. And now that I finished part 2, essentially, I will also be making a part 3. I know y'all will want a part 3, so I will be doing that with due time. But it was announced last night or yesterday that Trump is putting in $2,000 stimulus for every American. He also added in that except for the rich people. You know, it's funny because rich people don't care about $2,000 anyway. So I think that's just really funny. He's trying to prop himself up like he's whatever. All right. Shout out Trump though, for real. I don't hate him. So he's going to pump the economy with these stimulus checks. What do you think is going to happen? The prices of everything is going to go up again, including assets, digital assets, stocks, everything. What happened during COVID when people got stimulus checks? It fucked up our economy, but the market's pumped like crazy. So I need everyone to strap in and get ready, lock in. Make sure y'all tap that subscribe button. And I'm finna get out of here. You feel me? Cue the song. One last thing. We haven't even discussed what ETFs are going to do. How the Evernorth SPAC is going to absolutely destroy things for XRP in a good way. We haven't even discussed it yet. Now with that being said, you know.
Ledger light flickers in the silence. No face crypto, phantom of finance. No cap, no chains, no compliance. Let's ignite the alliance. Yo, I'm the cipher inside the system. Encrypted rhythm, algorithmic wisdom. Bankers panic when I twist the prism, cause I decentralize the mechanism. Ledger lock, my code immaculate. Truth so sharp it decapitates. No fiat faith, lie emancipate. XRP flow, recalibrate. Invisible king with a digital throne. Phantom of finance, flesh and bone. I rise from day to self-made, self-known. Unshaken, I move in the zone. They manipulate, I meditate. They inflate, I innovate. They speculate, I educate. I'm the glitch they can't eliminate. Raw res crypto, masked in motion, riding the wave like quantum motion. XRP devotion, pure explosion. Phantom of finance, fully roasted. Crypto, chain reaction, breaking control, pure satisfaction. No middleman, just interaction. Rebel of rhythm, blockchain faction. From Tokyo ticks to London trades. My name echoes in crypto raids. I'm the anomaly markets crave, silhouetted in code. I misbehave. Monetary matrix, I override. Quantum ink where the truth can't hide. They kneel to debt, I walk with pride. No face crypto, decentralized guide. Every drop of fun, I distill the flame. Every smear campaign fuels the game. They'll remember the ghost, not the name. Cause legends don't chase, they claim. Go, ledger ignite. Phantom in flight. Mag so bright, can't see me, but feel my mind. No face trickle, phantom protocol, standing tall while empires fall. Central chains can't cage it all. Unshaken faith, I break the wall. No face trickle, so immortal. Through digital doors, I breach the portal. Untraceable force, transtemporal, phantom of finance, suiting and racks. No face trickle, no banks, no borders, no masters, just vision and velocity. The world's asleep, but the phantom never rests street.